Welcome to The Birth Breakdown, a mini-sode series from Her Birth, Her Story. These short episodes are here to open conversations around pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. Things I believe that every woman deserves to look into, to question, and just to feel empowered by. This isn't about telling you what to do, what's right, or what's wrong. It's about giving you space to think, to learn, and to ask questions, to just trust yourself a little bit more as you prepare for your birth. So let's break it down. On today's birth breakdown, we are going to be diving into the prenatal. We are going to be looking at some of the key things and questions that you should be asking when you are deciding what prenatal you want to take. Because I am so sorry to break it to you, but not every single prenatal is created the same. Not all of them are as absorbable as others, and some will actually surprise you that they do not have the key vitamins and minerals and nutrients that are actually beneficial for you and your baby. So, we're kind of going to jump into some of the things that you should consider when choosing what prenatal you want, because it's not just about what tastes good. I know that that is really hard, especially when you're in that first trimester and you're so nauseous. And sometimes those sugary, gummy ones are the only things that you feel like you can keep down because been there, done that. If you take your prenatal on an empty stomach or you take the whole dose right away, it can just be hard. So I get it, but you also, if you're going to spend the money and you're going to take a prenatal, you want to make sure that you are getting the vitamins and minerals that you need, and the baby is also doing that as well. So some of the things that we really should look into as, we are going to the store, reading labels, and it's not about just going to the store and just picking the pretty package, or you've heard this influencer suggests you should take this one. That's great, but you need to know the why behind it, and you should always check for yourself to make sure that it has the essential vitamin and nutrients that you guys need. Okay, so one of the biggest things for me is to make sure that you find a whole food or food-based ingredients when it comes to your prenatal. A lot of times, this just helps with better tolerance, so maybe less nausea and nutrients packed with natural cofactors, not the artificial stuff, not stuff that's just made up in a lab, real, true nutrients. And this just also helps with a food first approach. Obviously, you should still be prioritizing your diet with nourishing foods, and your prenatal should also have those whole food based nutrients in them as well. And just keep in mind too, just because a label or packaging or a brand says that this is a whole food based prenatal doesn't automatically mean that it's superior than other ones that you may find. So it's still important to actually look at the nutrient forms and how much of each nutrient there are. Next, I think that this is huge, especially for myself, just because when you are growing a human, as moms, we obviously want to make sure that they have the best optimum nutrition so they can continue to develop and grow. And that's very important. So you want to make sure that whatever prenatal you choose, that they are third party tested. They need to check for potency, purity, heavy metals. That's a big one too. They should have independent verification. If they can't supply an independent verification of that, then they might be lying to you. And is that really where you want to spend your money? No, because transparency matters, because some prenatal vitamins have actually been found to contain certain contaminants or nutrient amounts that don't actually match the label. And unfortunately, there are a lot of marketing schemes that are very deceiving. So you want to make sure that you get what you pay for and your body's absorbing it, and so is your baby. Now, this is another big one, and it doesn't really get talked about a lot because we went through this very big time where everybody was pushing folic acid rather than folate. Just know that folic acid is the synthetic form, so it is created there are studies that show that it has helped. But if you are someone who carries the MTHFR gene, you cannot actually absorb the folic acid. You need to have folate, and there are certain forms of folate that your body is able to better absorb. Even if you don't have the MTHFR gene, this is an active form and it doesn't require the same crazy conversion steps in your body as folic acid does, because folic acid is synthetic. So if you know that you have that mutation, I definitely would make sure that finding folate, the methylfolate, is one of your highest priorities so that your body can actually absorb that. Another big one that actually a lot of prenatals do not have, and if they do, it is literally the minimum amount, is choline. This is one of the most overlooked nutrients that is so crucial for your prenatal, for you and your baby. This is so big for baby's brain development, nervous system development, and your placental health. Many experts say, you should aim for around 450 milligrams daily during pregnancy through obviously your supplements, food, all of that. But a lot of prenatals only give you just a fraction. So you want to make sure that you are looking at the label to see how much choline they're actually giving you and if there is choline actually in your prenatal, because there's a lot that do not have that. Next, the big topic of iron. I am one that normally has to take some type of supplement to help get my numbers up a little bit, especially for birth when we get into that second trimester. There are many different things that you can try to do to supplement in that, but there are forms of iron that more holistic practitioners recommend versus just taking iron, because there's a lot that goes into making sure that the iron is being absorbed in your body. But definitely speak with your practitioner just about if there's any other things that you can do before taking iron, or just make sure that you look to see what kind of forms are easier in your digestive system than what they always use. Next is vitamin D3. Okay, believe it or not, there are a lot of prenatals that use D2 rather than D3. And, a lot of people don't really recommend just supplementing with vitamin D3 just because. They really recommend you to go get your levels checked and then supplement based on your levels. Also, vitamin K2, which is often if you take a D3 supplement, it is paired with that because it has a direct effect on the vitamin D that you actually absorb. And the K2 helps direct the calcium towards the bones and your teeth rather than keeping it in your soft tissues, which is always a good thing. Next, you want to look at your active B vitamins, like what kind of B vitamins they use, because there are certain ones that are often more preferred over the less active ones. Another one too that you would think would be, either in bundles, because I feel like it probably would be hard to obviously put it into a prenatal all in one unless it was a liquid prenatal, is a quality DHA. Because many prenatals don't contain a DHA, and a lot of us don't eat enough seafood and fish. And it's not just eating the seafood and fish, it is the quality seafood that really helps, because the DHA is so important for fetal brain and eye development. So you want to make sure that you're getting a high quality DHA. This will probably be a separate supplement for you to get along with your prenatal. Another thing when it comes to your prenatal, we want to avoid unnecessary fillers. Yes, I know it all comes down to reading ingredients and looking. If your ingredient list, especially if it's the additional add-ons at the bottom, not just the vitamins, the additional add-ons, and you see things like artificial colors, why do you need that? There's no purpose in needing artificial color anyway. Who cares what color your prenatal is? Like, that's so silly. And hydrogenated oils and corn syrup, especially high fructose corn syrup, GMO ingredients. It's just very important to look into all of those things, because I, for one, don't like putting unnecessary things into my body. And when companies just add a bunch of crud, it's just like, what's the point? I don't want to like take things that have crud in it. I don't want my baby getting a bunch of crud either. So you definitely should look into those. Now, I'm going to go back over a little bit of a list, just some things to kind of wrap up what you should be looking into. So obviously we talked about food-based ingredients when possible, and that also means your supplements, and that also means your daily diet as well. And if you're in that first trimester, trust me, I understand the whole survival mode, because sometimes it looks like you're just going to eat bread. I get it, but try to nourish your body as much as you can. Get that protein in, get that fiber in, and any kind of other nutrients that you can get in through food, because it is so important. But if you're in survival mode, do what you need to do. We want to make sure that they're third-party tested for all of those heavy metals, and we want them to have transparent testing results. If you email the company, they should send you those testing results. If they kind of go around it, that means they are not transparent, and that is not something that I personally would feel comfortable in taking, because that if they can't be transparent, that normally means they're lying. Trust me, I have two children right now, and one's a toddler, and you know when your kids are not telling the truth because they just keep going around it. It's the same thing. Don't let them gaslight you into thinking that you're taking something safe if they cannot be transparent. Also, you want to look into folate versus folic acid and what would be better for you. Also, you want to make sure that choline is included and it's not just the minimal dose. If you need iron, make sure it is the bioavailable iron, not just any iron off the shelf. You want to make sure that your vitamin D is D3 with K2, and always minimal fillers and quality sourcing. So there are many good resources out there that can help you from the nutritional background of how much of each vitamin and mineral and nutrient you should actually have in your prenatal. But I am very big on quality of products. If I'm spending money, I want to make sure that it's something that I'm going to actually be able to absorb. And I listened to a podcast from a guy named Dr. Gonzalez, who has a podcast that's called Heal Thyself. And I obviously personally don't agree with all and everything he talks about, but obviously take what you want and leave what you don't. But he actually has this really cool series that he has been going on where he does it, I think, once or twice a month, where he actually tests and reaches out to all of the supplement brands to supply all of their third-party testing to show that they are trustworthy, third-party tested, low in all of those ratings, and are just very transparent and in their company and their supplements. And he actually did one over prenatals, and I'll attach that in the show notes too if you want to give that a listen. I think it's like 10-minute episode, but he just goes into the companies that did not participate, did not send third-party testing criteria, certifications, and he ended up only having 3 different supplement brands that actually passed his rigorous testing. Now, yes, he does more of the rigorous stuff because he wants to make sure that it is high quality. As a mom who reads ingredient labels and truly is conscious about what I put into my body, I am grateful that he did that. But just because they didn't reach out or complete it doesn't mean that you can't reach out and see if they'll provide it to you as well. But the 3 brands that he did, and this is not sponsored, but the 3 brands that he did say were good to go on this podcast were Just Ingredients. And they actually have a bundle that you can get that is a prenatal, postnatal with choline and DHA. And they also have the bioavailable iron that you can take if you need to, which I really like this one. And then another brand was Prenatal. I have not heard much about that brand, but I do know that they do some very high quality testing, and they even have a prenatal protein shake, which I thought was really, really cool. And then the third one was Mary Ruth Organics, which I'm sure that you've heard. And this might be a really good option if you want to take a liquid versus a capsule form. I think they may also have a gummy form too. I'm not completely sure, but that is a really good brand as well to look into. Now, if those three are not a prenatal that you've been taking, that doesn't mean that your prenatal is bad, but really just look and question, and feel free to email the company so that you can see how transparent they are. So I will put that podcast in the show notes if you want to go take a listen to it. Also, Mama Natural does a really good job at kind of explaining what to look at in a prenatal when you're choosing one. My biggest piece of advice, no matter what, and just remember this is in every single realm when it comes to birth and pregnancy, just do your own research, really look at it, go to the company's websites, see what they claim, email them. Their customer service, if they are a good company, their customer service will get back to you. Have them send you the certifications of the third party. And, you might think, wow, that seems like a little crazy. You're literally spending your money to get these supplements to support you and your baby. Don't you want to make sure that the things that you're taking, you're actually absorbing, and it doesn't have a bunch of heavy metals and more toxic things that your body's going to have to try to filter out, especially if you're taking it every single day? I don't know. I definitely am one to look into more of that stuff. So don't choose your prenatal based on who has the best packaging or what your influencer says is the best. Actually look into that information. Look at the forms of the nutrients that they use, the amount of choline that's in there, whether it is truly third-party tested. Do they have certificates to back it up? And how transparent is this company about what is actually in their bottle? I think that is so important. You take a prenatal every single day for the duration of your pregnancy and even postpartum. So I definitely think it's worth looking into. If this episode sparked curiosity, confirmed something you've been feeling, or just gave you a whole new perspective, I'd love for you to share it with another mom or mom-to-be who might need it. Make sure you're following Her Birth, Her Story, and if you feel called, leaving a review is one of the best ways to support this space. And it just helps these conversations to reach more women. Until next time, remember, this is your body, your baby, and your birth. We are reclaiming birth one story at a time. I also want to add this disclaimer that this is not to be taken as medical advice. Please make sure that if you are seeking medical advice, then reach out to your own provider so that you can figure out what is best for you.